Gave most black Americans $1 million today, they would be broke by next summer and in debt by Christmas. It sounds harsh, but economic truths don't soften simply because they make us uncomfortable. The real tragedy is not that this would happen, but that no one in the so-called reparation movement seems interested in asking why. There is a common assumption, especially among progressive circles, that money fixes things, that the mere act of transferring dollars from one group to another will somehow correct generations of inequality, poor schooling, cultural decay, and economic dysfunction. But money is not a cure. It is a magnifier. It does not change the person. It simply gives them more power to do what they were already inclined to do. If someone is already wise, disciplined, and forward-thinking, money will accelerate their progress. But if someone is impulsive, short-sighted, and emotionally driven, then money becomes gasoline thrown on the fire. We see this play out in everyday life long before anyone talks about reparations. Just look at professional athletes. Many of them come from poor black communities and suddenly find themselves with millions of dollars. Within 5 years of retirement, a staggering percentage, some studies say up to 60% of NBA and NFL players are broke or in severe financial distress. These are men who earn more in 5 years than most Americans will in 5 lifetimes. And yet the results are predictable. Why? Because income and wealth are not the same thing. One comes from work, the other comes from wisdom. What few people want to talk about is the fact that black America collectively already has enormous spending power. In 2024, that number was estimated at over $1.7 trillion annually. That's not a typo. That's more than the GDP of many small nations. But where's that money go? Not into investments, not into businesses, not into savings accounts or retirement plans. No, most of it goes into consumption. This is not a theory. It is documented by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, by marketing research firms, and by the behavior we see all around us. Black households spend a disproportionately large share of their income on clothing, beauty products, fast food, entertainment, and luxury items. Designer sneakers, name brand clothing, flashy jewelry, high-end cars. These are not investments. They are illusions of success, marketed aggressively to people who have been taught to chase validation rather than build value. Now, some will point to the historical reasons for this. Centuries of exclusion from wealth-building institutions, redlining, Jim Crow, and systemic barriers that denied home ownership and access to capital. And yes, those things happened. They were real and they left scars. But scars are not excuses, because if history alone determined behavior, we would not see poor immigrants from East Asia, South Asia, or Eastern Europe arriving in America with nothing but a suitcase and a language barrier and building wealth in one generation. So the question is not what happened to us, the question is what are we doing now? And the answer is spending. Not building, not investing, not preparing, just spending. In Black Rednecks and White Liberals, I wrote about how cultural behaviors can outlive the conditions that created them. The flamboyant consumption patterns that once served as a coping mechanism in oppressed communities have now become normalized. Entire subcultures have been built around the idea that success is measured not by what you own, but by what you show off. And the market is more than happy to supply the symbols, sneakers that cost $800, cars that depreciate the moment they leave the dealership, gold chains, designer watches, celebrity-endorsed clothing. None of these things create wealth. They devour it.
$500,000 on this car that's going to depreciate,
Right.
and it's not an asset? Or do you want to spend $20,000 on this car that's going to work just as well as this car and cost less to fix it up,
Right.
then buy you some assets on the side, and then, plan for your future, or you can live for now.
What's the worst investment you made? You buy something, I mean, you say you're not big into cars. You never bought no Rolls, no Ferrari?
Mm-mm.
What the hell, you driving a pickup truck in Omaha?
Yeah. Yeah. I do got a pickup truck. A 2025 GMC Denali. HD.
Okay.
Ultimate.
Ultimate.
Yeah. 2,500.
You on a farm? You got a farm?
I drag your little car.
On this episode of Did You Know, I'm out here in my backyard just thinking about stuff. Thinking about economics today, thinking about money, thinking about acquiring money, thinking about how to maintain money. And we know that the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil, but it doesn't say money is evil, right? In fact, money can open up so many doors for us if we are wise stewards with it. But today I wanted to talk about quickly, why is it that money that is often stumbled upon, money that is given, money that people just come into, why isn't it maintained? Here's an example. It's stated that the majority of lotto winners, I believe the number is about 70%. 70% of lotto winners are often broke within a short time after, they hit big winnings. Why is that? I think the answer is simple. Before we talk about that, I think the answer is simple. We can go to the NBA, we can go to the NFL, professional athletes, same thing. They make all of this money, and oftentimes they come from, a background of humble beginnings, and they come into millions of dollars within a short time frame, but shortly after they retire, they have nothing to show for it. How is it that I can come in contact with millions? I should be set for life, but I lose it with nothing to show for it. I think the answer is extremely simple. It's because I can give you money, but I can't give you wealth. A person can be given money, but he can't be given a mind that helps him understand how to sustain his money. He can't be given a mind that teaches him how to create more wealth, create more avenues for it. That has to come through learning, education. That has to come through financial literacy. Me being a wise steward with my money. See, I can come into something. I can come into $10 million today, but if I have a broke mindset, it won't do me any good at all. If I spend more than I'm bringing in, that money will dissipate. It will leave. And so let's talk reparations, for example. Of course, do I think that African slaves deserved to be given reparations? Absolutely. You were enslaved, you helped build the country, you were put under the most harsh conditions, and then America just said, all right, you can go. We're sorry. And most of them didn't even say that. They just said, you can go, right? Okay, but now I'm way behind. And so, of course, reparations in that sense, they were deserved. Would I support giving black people millions of dollars today? Absolutely not. I'm a descendant, I believe, of slaves. But I don't think just giving black people money would solve lasting issues. Why? Because inside of the culture that I'm a part of and that I'm proud to be a part of, a black man, right? Inside of our culture, we have not displayed the mindset of creating wealth within our culture. We've adapted a mindset of spending, of glorifying, depreciating items, and minimizing gathering assets. What do I mean? Hip-hop culture. Let's take hip-hop culture, for example. When I was growing up, in middle school, high school, I felt bad if I had a cheap pair of tennis shoes on. The Jordans, well over 100, 200, 300, sometimes more. Those are the shoes that I wanted because those shoes gave me validation. Those shoes made me somebody in the eyes of my peers. But those shoes are a depreciating item. They lose value every time that I wear them But my mind said, those are what you need. Spend money. Ask your mother to spend her hard-earned money to get you something that depreciates. Because that's all I seen from the rappers. They talked about getting the Mercedes Benz. They talked about spending millions and thousands on jewelry, on things that are put on you, but they have no value in creating wealth. How can these tennis shoes that Michael Jordan created help me gain wealth? They can't. They can make me look wealthy. And see, that's the problem. I don't think we have the mindset yet. I believe we're going to get that mindset, and I'm trying to help us along with thousands of others. We're trying to turn that tide. I'm just speaking right now. Black people make and spend. If you go do the studies, we spend money. It's not the fact that we don't have the money. We have so many resources. We have capital. That's not the problem. The problem is, where are we sending our dollars? We're sending our dollars to buy weave. We're sending our dollars to buy fast food. Consumes so much black wealth. We're spending our dollars on Mercedes Benz, right? We're spending our dollars on Maserati. We're spending our dollars on Prada, on Gucci, on Jordan, on depreciating, assets. And so it's a culture problem. And just like with the lottery winner, just like with the pro athlete, even if we came into money, if we don't have the mentality that makes sustaining money a reality, before you know it, we won't have anything to show for it. And so I'm all for reparations, but more than that, I'm for creating and developing mindsets that create positive outcomes. We have to change it here first. And once we change it here, we'll be equipped to take off and do great things. It's your boy Rain. If you like, be sure to subscribe. Comment down below. Am I on track with this or am I wrong? I want to hear from you. Comment down below. Go.
Yeah, Guala, no issue. Cop that, I'm fin to blow that, it's tissue. But you can't take none of that with you. Guala, no issue. Cop that, I'm fin to blow that, it's tissue.